You know what, guys? I'm getting really sick of musicians and media personalities and even YouTubers just injecting politics and stuff. Like, I've always got a secret agenda. It just infuriates me. Just be more open with your audience. It's just really, really fucking dumb, okay? Hello and welcome, I'm Lee, the music reviewer, and today we're going to be reviewing the latest record from Idols called Joy is an Act of Revolution. And Idols, if you don't know who they are, they've been kicking about for a good wee while now. They're a UK based band, started back in 2012 I believe, and yeah, they've been getting by on this like political heavy material that is really amplified by frontman Joe Talbot, who's just rowdy nature and wit. In addition to their like punk rocky stylings, some say kind of hardcore stylings as well. Yeah, it all basically makes this neat little package that is just an utter delight to behold. It all came to a head in 2017 with the release of their debut album Brutalism. It was released on the Partisan label. It just served as one of the better releases of last year. Unfortunately, I didn't get around to it till about January, as I do with most releases that I see on end of year lists, and that's why I'm pushing said end of year list for me back to January, because there's so many albums you end up missing out on, and I'm so sad I didn't get to talk about this album more last year. But yeah, it was just some like really deliciously digestible rock music that the fashion that it was delivered in, and just the end results were just so much fun, especially with the song Mother, which it was like the prime example of just how easy but just so like dreary and gritty it all was. It was all kind of influenced by the passing of Joe's mother, and it does feel very dark at points, but other points when it comes to like the punk rock tunes that you can imagine being really anthemic and really like being a rally call for people, like the song Mother, which has that whole line about the best way to scare a Tory is to raid and get rich, and just that, and the chorus of motherfucker. Just every time I hear that song, it just gets me raring to go. It really is. It's set out to do what it wanted to do. Even if there's an argument maybe Brutalism was a bit one note, it didn't really vary itself all that much. But yeah, all in all, Brutalism was a pretty surprisingly good record, and that leads us up to this new act that I'm just going to refer to as Joy, because I'll just end up tripping over whenever I'm trying to say the whole title. But yeah, how is Joy? How is this album, which I didn't listen to the singles to prior, so this whole album, first time listening to it, I was completely fresh to. But yeah, what's changed? Well, it seems like they're giving other sort of like socially aware UK acts like Family, Sleaford Mods, even Slaves to a certain extent, giving them like a run for their money here, because while some of those acts have always felt never really made such a jump with their stuff, or even seem to like really amp up the ambition on following records. The opening track to this album, Colossus, is, well, colossal. It very much answers the question of have they changed to no but yes, and the way that you notice these changes aren't really glaringly obvious, but when you do notice them, they do start to amp up a great deal of respect for what they're seeking out to do here. The Colossus itself starts to like slowly layer itself up. It starts with this like simple like drumstick tapping, I guess you would call it, and then it's like a wintry breeze about obliterate it. These fuzzy guitars and string arrangements and treble drums all follow in suit, and it just acts as like really apt aggressive backdrop for Joe to just kind of say about what it is to be a man, but in a way that is more so not trying to peddle what it is to be a man, but kind of like dissect it, almost criticise it, and really it feels utterly sinister what he's doing here the whole time. It feels like the track you want to open your album with, because it has you on the edge of your seat. It feels utterly cinematic as far as I'm concerned. The whole topic of masculinity, the way it's explored in this album, I feel is just refreshing in general, because I don't really think a lot of artists are exploring it. Maybe in the sense of them as artists themselves, how they express themselves, and that there definitely has been a shift in how we view masculinity in music. But in terms of something on this scope where it so thoroughly addresses it, I just had a great time with it, because I just love to see it, and also how it doesn't really ever sort of try and keep itself to like a binary at all. Like you would think maybe if it's trying to talk about something in this way, that maybe it would be a bit more softer, showing it like, oh, like masculinity presents itself in different ways. But no, it still does keep that like beefy punk sound and just that whole punk attitude, which makes it something that is gonna like people who probably wouldn't have ever thought of questioning their own masculinity about how toxic it can be. I think it's a pretty smart move. Again, another reason why I like it. But there's like two parts to Colossus. It starts off, that's the whole cinematic, like Jaws music almost, and then when it gets to the second part, it's a bit, it's not as rich, but it's the pace. It's given like a nitro boost. It just goes, and then Joe's just doing like all these kind of like really humorous, but again, like you can, I would go as far as saying they're quite anthemic, in terms of just kind of like how memorable they are and just how riled up they get you. There's the line, I'm like Stone Cold Steve Austin, I put homophobes in coffins, which I don't think I've not seen something worded like that so much. There's been bands over the past few years that are like really calling these people out, but in that sort of way, it does feel like somebody's using their platform for good, and it isn't sort of like some sort of like phony punk for money movement like some iconic punk bands seem to be. But we're not going to get into that just now. But yeah, and it's also convenient. I'm going to mention this now while I still remember, because this album came out the same day as Eminem's album with that notoriously homophobic line. So yeah, I'm not gonna review that album for obvious reasons. I'm not judging anyone that has. The reviews I've seen, like David and Buffalo's, have been very good and entertaining. But I'm not gonna be able to give that much of an unbiased opinion. But enough about that. Tangent over. What's the rest of this album like? Because Colossus definitely is a more beefy cut. It does feel, like I say, it feels a lot richer. And it clocks in at just over 5 minutes, which is like, for a lot of punk songs, they try and keep it a bit shorter just to like make sure that force is never really like lost at any point. But it never feels like it is. My attention never faltered. Neither does Joe's vocal delivery, especially during the first time where, like I say, he sounds sinister, he sounds desperate, he sounds like a starving animal that's really crying out to just get something, which I found like utterly mesmerising at points. And yeah, it just ensures that this album opens up splendidly. Never Fight a Man with a Perm is a leaner successor, but no less enjoyable, with the band going through a sort of exorcism as they aim their sights on, well, themselves really, at least past forms of themselves that engage in the usual like badly behaved club shenanigans. If you've been out on a night out, you know these type of people, and the riff that accompanies it is just absolutely naughty. It's just an utterly filthy playing that just reaches its peak once it reaches that concrete to leather. My impersonation of an English accent is making me laugh just as much as some of these lines do. You look like you're from Love Island, you look like a walking thyroid, and your one big neck with sausage hands just, yeah, always make me giggle whenever I listen to this song, and just makes you go, you know what, you can talk about these serious topics and just have a blast doing it. And yeah, just the venom that is just like dripping from idols' mouths as they go along these songs. It just feels like a really territorial animal that just doesn't want to give up the platform that they've made for themselves, and that just makes the record all the more pleasurable knowing this dog's bite is just as big as its bark. The main core of Joy is talking about masculinity, touching on it in very interesting ways, and one of the most interesting ways that it stops it becoming tiresome is with the song June, which sees this vulnerability come to the forefront in a pretty heart-wrenching story, which we never saw on Brutalism, even though there was a story that could have been addressed there. But the way that it comes about here is very mature. It's utterly depressing, and it's about the story of Joe's stillborn daughter Agatha. It's just littered with these like just really haunting Hemingway quotes about baby shoes for sale never worn, and just Joe's delivery here, like you can tell he feels really broken, but there's no shame in that. Like I think that's again another good element of this album, is there's no shame to being so open about it. And yeah, just the fact that like other songs on this album, like Smartens, address this very thing about how some men are made to feel less like men because they show emotion, because they cry, or just because they don't act typically masculine, which is really sad, and is like an obvious case for why so many men feel like there's no other solution but to do all these very toxic coping mechanisms with like alcohol and drugs and whatnot, and eventually become depressed, and you know the end result to that So the fact that like a punk band are talking about this sort of stuff, when really no one probably would have expected one to do so. Like a lot of this stuff is usually addressed more in hip hop, but the fact that like it's being shown in a different light, it's just more interesting for a music fan in general, because you want to have these messages delivered in so many different ways, and the way that it's done on this album in general. Like I say with June, there's these sort of like really haunting elements to it. There's the whistling, there's like the church organs in that. It just makes me feel really unsettled and makes me think that, or maybe not even so much feel it, because I've not had that situation, but like it makes you feel really sympathetic and feel the same sort of like pain or uneasiness or just guilt that you could imagine someone would feel having went through this sort of event. Performances in here in general still do pack a punch, and when you're talking about stuff like this, they're suitably much more calm, as they're a bit more restrained when they have to be, like with this song June, which I need to mention how the distortion in that song is used expertly and feels like just this like blanket of just, again, uneasiness. I just think that was a really nice touch. But yeah, you get it with songs like Television, which to tie this all in, the critiques given out are usually focused on the topic of masculinity, but there's other topics explored, like with Television, which is them talking about something that I feel gets addressed a lot in terms of society, but I don't think there's ever been those great songs. I know Beyonce and other people have like touched on sort of standards with beauty, but no, the way that idols go about it, they give it its own sort of flair. It's really funny whenever the refrain, or yeah, I would say funny when it's the refrain of like, if someone talked to me the way you talk to you, I'd put their teeth through, which is like, it feels like a really wholesome uncle who's like a few drinks in, they've heard you make some really bad like comment about yourself and just been like, you better stop doing that, you're bloody handsome, so you are. You can take that clip out of context, just play it to yourself all you want now. But yeah, I do think that the way they go about it, like even when some topics might have been like talked about before, there's always like a sort of either a unique perspective or unique way they go about it, which still makes it like very entertaining. I'm Scum sees the band reclaim these playground insults that are thrown towards leftists. It's kind of addressed in a sort of like really noticeable pre-chorus of this Snowflakes and Avalanche making an appearance. Yeah, just before this like nitro boost as a chorus, that is just saying like how, yeah, I'm scum, but when I'm scum for standing up to fascists and caring about those in need and being proud of these like identities, like being working class and whatnot, then yeah, I'm happy to be scum. If that's what I'm doing, then yeah, it's great being scum. Danny Nedelko sees these positive vibes just keep coming through with a song that's directed towards immigrants, but it's very much like more of a love song. It isn't such like a really dehumanising way of talking about immigration, where it's like basically going like, yeah, immigrants are great because of the economic benefits and all that, like all of that is true, but they are people at the end of the day and we should be treating them as such, and this is very much more of a human song than it is a political song, as the band put it, and you can't really deny that either when you've got this pre-chorus where the band are having to hit the point home to people's thick gammon skulls that yes, these are people, they are made of flesh and blood just like we are, so why are we judging them just because they come from a different country, which is essentially just lying in the fucking sand. So yeah, I really think this is another one that the catchiness of the hook really does help get that point delivered, and it's just a really fun song as well. Like I say, you can talk about this serious stuff, but you can still have a good time doing it, and idols know that point very well. You don't see the band completely abandon this aggressiveness when it comes to this song Great, which is basically just idols fighting strawmen, but they're pretty self-aware about it and talking about these people that do exist, but like they're obviously people that were against the EU weren't all. Like, that's where people have actually some justifiable explanations of weren't just they hate immigrants and stuff like that. But like I say, they're aware of that, and I'm not trying to deliver it as this is the entire Brexit crowd. It's just there are people like this, and it's pretty funny to laugh at them because it is dumb reason for like, I want a blue passport and you want your country back and all that shit. Like, it's pretty funny, and then when it gets to the end of the song and then Joe's basically just mocking David Cameron, like in a way that like you kind of would have done as like a kid, and like when somebody says something like, we're on this together, and he's like just going like, we're on this together, like in a really like childish way, which is it's just really funny to me. Again, I keep saying that all the time, but like it's really good that like a punk album's basically able to make me go, yes, I love this, and also being able to make me laugh at some points, making me really overwhelmed and like wanting to cry about with like the song June. Like, again, hats off. Sadly, sometimes this variety can mean that the focus isn't all that clear with the song Gramrock, which, well, other than the chorus, I feel it just feels like a bit diluted mixing wise. The story just seems kind of like inconsequential. It really much feels like a B-side song, regardless of the fact that like there's some comedic elements, like the whole 10 points to Gryffindor, random bits like that, which can be funny. But yeah, also the start of the song reminds me of Fake Tale of San Francisco with that drum roll bit. Puts me on edge. I feel like my phone's on like shuffle or something, and I'm just kind of like, what is it doing? Oh wait, it's not. Just a really confusing time for little old me. The same can be said about the song Cry to Me, which is like, it's a nice enough cover of the Solomon Burke track of the same name, but it didn't really add much to the manifesto that IDLES haven't already like bolded and underlined at this point in the record. Joy is very much like a record that starts to get kind of like complacent near its finale, but Rottweiler kind of saves it a little bit, like especially if that song goes out, it's just like one big like anarchist sort of like finale that's just a lot of fun. It feels messy. It feels like some fights like broke out at a pub or something. It's just another brawl, like everyone for themselves and that. And I guess in a way that like it's sort of kind of like ironic with how it's been talking about masculinity and all that. It's probably very like it's very intentional in that, and it was just a nice way for things to end. I do think that towards the end, yeah, to start to waver a little bit. Like the last third is probably like the worst bit of it, but even then, like I don't think they're completely bad songs. They're just like compared to like how strong the other songs are, they definitely do stand out a little bit in the wrong kind of way. But yeah, in general with this new IDLES record, I just feel like the good outweighs the bad so much. And like I say, even the bad, like it could have been mended a little bit. Maybe if a song or two here were scrapped, it would make like a bit tighter, like a 10-track album. Yeah, it probably would have been like a much, I don't want to say like a much better record, but like it definitely would have been a bit more improved. But yeah, I'm just glad that there's a band from the UK that are like they're willing to speak class and play crass, as I put it. And looking from like a wider lens, like it just sort of a lot of faith. I mean, like somebody like IDLES is just kicking about, just has like our appetite for like destruction and justice, which I think is pretty cool. And the fact that like they've been kicking about for so long, they only just got this attention last year. Like they managed to like hone their craft like just over a great period of time. And I've got to this point where just like I'm so excited for every new bit of like IDLES material I get. If I can see them live, I'm gonna see them live, because yeah, they're just restoring faith in me. And in terms of like how I view like the kind of political landscape of music in general, because sometimes it feels like it's all just one big haha let's laugh at Trump thing, when really nothing witty or insightful is being said. So the fact that it's pretty much what I wanted that Slaves album to be like, if I'm being honest. Like how I said, like I wish that a band were going to focus on like a topic, and the fact IDLES did with masculinity and just produced a really great album. Like there's no denying that. In terms of a score, I'm feeling like a decent 8 out of 10 on this. Just IDLES, much like Mother Nature itself, utterly organic, visceral and unshakable, and I'm very excited to see what comes of them. But yeah guys, thank you for watching. Let me know what you guys made of this album down in the comments below. Favourite song, score, whatever, just let me know. And social media links are in my bio as always. Be some videos at the end of this. Hope you guys are liking the new end slate thing. And yeah, thank you for watching guys. Stay safe and stay hydrated.